Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. I'm so glad that you took the time to join us today, whatever platform you're watching this on today. I have a special guest who is a speaker, a author. Uh, she is a founder of Families of Change, Emmasara McMillions. Welcome to Morning Moments.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Ruben Martinez gave me your name, and you graciously accepted my invitation. I thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Ruben. And thank you.
Yes, what a wonderful interview that was with him. Tell me, what do you do? I know you're an author and all, but tell me, what do you do and why do you do it?
Well, I am the founder of Families of Change, and part of the reason I began this foundation and this movement is because I have 8 kids, and the short story goes is that I was that young woman who never wanted to have kids because I thought that the world was too evil of a place. I already made that little summation as, in my early 20s. And so when I married my husband, before I married my husband, I said, if you marry me, there will be no kids in our future because I don't want to have kids. And long story short, a year after we got married, he changed his mind. And I had to take, my fears to God. And I really felt like he, just showed me that he would show me how to protect kids and raise them in a dangerous world and do it successfully. And that's kind of my testimony. I've actually have 8 kids from the ages of 4 to 22, soon to be 23. And, raising kids isn't easy. Nobody is perfect. We all have challenges, but I have been able to learn how to do it God's way. And so the Families of Change movement was born. I have a 400-page book. The Mother of Change book was born. And that really drives me, is to unite families in God, okay, in faith, but also to protect children as well.
Wow. Uh, the enemy really wants to attack our families, doesn't he? If he could attack the family, he could destroy the church, really. And so it's real key to keep that family connected with God, right?
Absolutely. And I really believe that family, I always say that the future of our nation rests upon the shoulders of families to create change. And I really believe that if families become united, even in, a moral sense, because a lot of times what I'm seeing in the decline of society is that mothers are beginning to lose nurture, and mothers are beginning to, not be the standard of morality, even in their home. A lot of times when we were growing up, mama's like, where are you going? What are you watching? Who are your friends? And now I see, morality slipping even within the home. And that's where the greatest danger happens, is because when the parents are now slipping along with the children, then you will see the decline in society. So if we want to see a better society, if we want to see a stronger society, then we have to raise morality, and morality has to happen in the home. Like when we're raising up our children, there has to be a sense of morality that is instilled in children. And when parents are now no longer being an accountability for their kids, but they're spoon feeding it to their children, then that's a great danger to society, I believe.
Yeah, when we allow our school system and our government to be our moral compass, we're in trouble.
Mhm.
That needs to come from a godly father and a godly mother, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. And I've been speaking I've been speaking on this topic of situational awareness from coast to coast. In 2020, I literally flew from one end of the states to the other. So I spoke at near Seattle, Washington, and then I spoke all the way on the East Coast. And one of the things that I would say that one of the things that is mentionable is that as I taught situational awareness, I would have dads and grandfathers come to some of my events. And a lot of times it's just moms, moms come to these events. But whenever we had males come, I will tell you my rate was 100% of the males coming up to me afterward. They are the ones that would come up to me and say, Emmasara, thank you so much. I thought I was doing my job. I thought I was being protective, but I just realized that we have a lot of things that we need to shore up, a lot of things that we could be doing in a more focused sense to safeguard our homes. And so a lot of people just don't know. And once you've been watered down for so long in society, and it just decline steadily. They always say, you can throw a frog into a hot pan and he'll jump right out. But if you steadily warm it, he'll cook himself to death and won't know it. And so we've gotten to that place in society where things have been turned up so gradually that we've arrived at where we're at today. And so my job and my calling and my mission is to educate to and equip parents, and to not just equip parents, because I actually have single people in the movement as well, because they understand that one day they will be parents, and they also understand that they don't have to be married or even have children in order to impact children's lives. So that's what makes this movement so powerful.
When you're working with children, either through parenting or, and I come to you from somebody who's been in children's ministry for years and years, you're making an impact generationally. I've told children's workers and parents a lot is that you are planting seeds of trees that you'll never sit under. And there are going to, when you just plant those seeds, those kids are going to grow into big, huge oak trees. And but many times we're not going to see the results of that. But you just do the work, and God's faithful to be able to get the word will not turn void when you work with children with that.
Yes, and I love that you are making it, or that you're illustrating it in such a way, because when we were parenting, probably 2010, so we were parenting for about, I want to say 10 years, when we started to go to conferences. We became hungry to learn and grow. We are chain breakers. Both of my husband and I are both chain breakers in our household, and families of change are chain breakers and change makers. That's what defines a family of change. And his dad wasn't around growing up. His dad's still not around. We have 8 kids. Only 2 of them met them when they were really small. I have amazing children that have never met, that their grandfather never met. My mother was a teen mother when she had me. And so my mom did begin to break chains and took us out of a bad neighborhood, and, try to take us to good schools and taught us about the Lord. And so she was, I would say, the original chain breaker. And then I'm just continuing it on. So I always want to give props where props is due. Good job, Mom and Dad, on that. But I would say that legacy is the crux of everything that we do in our mission, is that we have to look beyond ourselves. We have to look beyond today. We have to look beyond the 2, like if you have 2 children, if you have 3 children, if you have 4 children. A lot of people get stuck on, I'm raising these kids, they're going to be 18, I'm going to set them free, I'll have my own freedom, I've done my job, checked some things off the list, sent them to school, checked, fed them, checked, made sure that they were, potentially, kind of safe, check, did everything that I was supposed to do. And then people kind of wipe their hands and they say they're done. Of course, there is some relationship, but we see today that really there is a break in society of relationship with families. And so it's really common for families not to eat together, not to have meals together, not to communicate together. Everybody's on the phone, everybody's together, but nobody's together. And so one of the things I'm always reminding parents is that we are not just parenting our children, but we're parenting our grandchildren and our future grandchildren. We have that potential in us to parent way down the line. And so back to the 10-year mark, we were about 10 years really hungry to learn, to grow as parents. And we came across this idea of having a 400-year plan. And we love that. My husband just, grasped that up, and he sat down and he, prayed about it, and he started to write down like a 400-year plan. He was like, if all of our children have kids, and they have, each like, maybe 3 kids, and they have 3 kids. And he started to look, and, he sat us all down. He's like, this is how many McMillions there will be in the world, and what kind of impact do we want to make when they all supersede us and they go beyond us? What kind of legacy do we want to leave for them? And how can we impact them even when we're way long gone?
I used to think, and I still agree with this concept though, but I used to think that, well, our walk with the Lord is a marathon, not a sprint, because I've seen a lot of people run real fast and then burn out. But I'm learning now, later on in this chapter of my life, it's not just a marathon, it is a relay race. And there is a need for us to pass on to the next generation.
That's perfect. I mean, really, we're working together, we're running the race. And a lot of times what happens is that that baton gets dropped.
Yes.
Okay. And when the baton gets dropped, then there's a break in the line, there's a break in the mission. And what I have found is that families don't really have family missions. I mean, I have a book, my Passion and Purpose Time Management book. This book is so important because we hear about mission statements for companies and, you know, Fortune 500 companies, they have mission statements, but I really encourage families to have mission statements. And so I have a whole template in here on how to create a personal mission statement for self, but also a personal mission statement for a family. And it's important that you include the family in the mission because you want the buy-in.
Yeah.
You want them to buy in. And of course, if there are families who are starting from the ground up because they were like, Emmasara, and some come to me like, we were never taught this, Emmasara. We never heard about this kind of stuff. We thought you just raise a kid, you send them to school, and you take them out when they're 18, and you make sure that you're paying for their lunch and you're putting tennis shoes on their. And they say, I never knew this. And so there is some overwhelm when some people come, and there's some overwhelm, there's some regret. And I always just remind everybody that we're humans. We only know what we know. And this is why scripture says, how will they know unless they're told? How will they know unless somebody teaches them? And so this is where we talk about that relay. So I was not raised to understand all this. I had to get resources, books, and go to conferences and be taught. The scripture is beautiful. There's so many lessons, but I was always that person that, well, what does that look like lived out, Lord? Like I see this on scripture, but what does that even mean to my family? And so as a woman of God and as a mother, my role and my goal is to not just be a godly influence to my kids, but also to be a godly influence to our nation and to culture and to the world. And so, I always say, don't feel guilty, don't feel shame, like pat yourself on the back. You actually did a good job because your family have changed. I always tell them that if you came and this impacted you, that's a positive. Okay. You're doing way better than the people who could care less about the message. The fact that you care means that you can change. And as long as you can change, then you forgive yourself and just move on.
If you enjoyed this kind of teaching, there's more. Emmasara has I've seen some of her videos. I've watched some of them. I think you have them on YouTube and you have them on your Facebook page and other sources. There's product where you have lots of books and a lot of resources, and you also, again, you're a speaker. If you enjoyed this, you need to really get in and see what else she has in store, and how God has blessed her with this knowledge and this ability to share this message. Please do that. Depending on what platform you're seeing this on, you could always go to my YouTube channel and look down below, or my Facebook down below, and get the websites and the links that we have for how to get a hold of Emmasara and her ministry. Thank you so much for sharing with us today on Morning Moments.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I just released it this week, so I have to let everybody know.
Please do.
I do have a new book. It's called Ferocious, and it's a devotional for fierce females. But I am handling and I am combating, cultural issues, faith, the whole gender situation, everything that's been going on. If you want to know how we got to this place in society, if you want to know how our children have gotten to this place where there's so much confusion, this is going to answer a ton of questions. Oh. It's great for single women. It's great for mothers. It's great for youth groups. It's great for teen girls. Ferocious, you can find it on Amazon. And you can also, you're going to have my links, so you'll be able to find that.
And I like the cover. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I like the lion there. I really.
Thank you. My daughter actually illustrated it. So
great. Thank you, Emmasara, and thank you for joining me on Morning Moments. I'm going to ask you if you all would just keep coming back, and may God richly bless you.